really loud this morning. This afternoon. I don't know. I'm not going to start that over. My computer just yelled at me, telling me that recording had started. And I was like, whoa, wow. Okay, settle down, lady. Good morning. No, it's 4 o'clock in the afternoon. What is wrong with me? Okay, let's start over. Hi, I'm Rachel Abassi, and I'm a grateful recovering alcoholic and stroke survivor. If that's any indication of how this episode is going to go, watch out. I feel like shit. I feel really terrible. I'm just, I'm trying to ride it like a wave. And that's what I feel like today. I feel like it's like, what more can I do? I went rucking today. Um, I must be feeling a little bit better because I went rucking, even though I feel terrible. Because before, like last week, I wouldn't have even considered going rucking. So I did it. I did not go for, I went probably a mile, which is a lot. I'm not discounting that, but um, I was really slow walking. I think I pulled a muscle in my side. So one of my stretches that I've been doing for my lower back impacts like this like deep muscle in my side, kind of in my front side. And when I stretch it out, like it feels really good, but I think I went overboard because that's what I do. I'm an overachiever. So I stretched the shit out of it and now it's pulled. So it feels sore to breathe. But I'm just going. I'm going forth and I'm conquering anyway. So I feel today is I'm riding it all like a wave. That's what I'm doing. And I had a great day. I met with my psychiatrist at 10. Well, I went rucking with Autumn. And what does that mean? It's a fancy word for I walked really slow with a backpack that has a 5 pound weight in it. No, a 10 pound weight in it. A 10 pound weight in it. And Autumn came along. That's it. That's what rucking is for me. But it sounds like I'm doing something and I like that. And while I was out rucking, I saw another gentleman who was rucking. So if you see somebody who's got on this like vest or black backpack thing, it's a rucksack and it's cool. I feel like I've entered this world. You know how all the people who drive Jeeps like wave to each other? That's what I feel like. I feel cool when I'm walking in my rucksack and I'm like, hey, I'm cool just like you. And then after that, I talked to my psychiatrist, and that was a really good conversation. We were talking about waiting, having the house on the market and waiting. And it is like torture. It feels like it. Um, I've been having a hard time waiting and being trapped in this phase where I can't do anything but wait. The only thing I can do is clean the house, and I've run out of things to clean. I did find something to clean this morning, but then I forgot what it was. So it's like something in some crevice somewhere that had a piece of dust on it. I don't remember where it was, but that's to the point. That's the point that I've gotten to with the cleaning. So everything looks good. I have pulled away from making my bed to the extreme. I'm not a bed maker, and in sobriety, they say the first thing that you should do is make your bed in the morning. Well, I haven't done that. I didn't take on that. That was the one suggestion Actually, nobody suggested it to me, so I never did it. But when we have our house on the market, I like to make the bed. I have like a clean white blanket and I make it like it belongs in a magazine. And so yesterday and today I did not make the bed because nobody's coming. We're having another open house this weekend, so I'm really hopeful that the momentum will pick back up again and we'll get an offer and everything will go smoothly. But the waiting is really difficult. And it reminds me of waiting for doctor's results, waiting for test results, like waiting, waiting, waiting. And there's nothing you can do about it. At least when you're waiting for a doctor's results, there is someone in control. There is someone that I am depending on them to, you know, provide me what I'm waiting for. With this, it's like I'm waiting for this mystery person who wants this exact house and they're willing to buy it. So I'm just trying to remain hopeful and imagining that everything will work out perfectly. And what I mentioned to my psychiatrist is the only thing that gets me out of the obsession with the house is when I think about my kids. So I've been doing that often. Bailey's birthday's coming up, by the way. It's August 24th. So if you want to send her birthday wishes, you can send them my way and I will send them over to her. She is trying to figure out what she's going to do for her birthday because her boyfriend hurt his back. So we asked Chatty McChatterton last night or the night before. All the nights are rolling into each other for me. And Chatty McChatterton gave some suggestions, but they were pretty poor suggestions, we thought. So she'll try to figure it out. I like the idea of having a picnic outside and playing some outdoor games, like cornhole and stuff like that. That sounds fun. That's what I would love to do that. So it's got to be cool if I would love to do that. So she said that sounded okay. So we'll see. What's the topic today, Rachel? Well, I'll tell you, it is escaping the if trap and living sober. The if trap, and it's funny, not funny, haha, but coincidental that my morning meeting was about the if trap. And then we were talking at the end of my psychiatrist conversation about that's what I'm doing with this whole house thing. I'm what ifing. What if we don't sell the house? What's going to happen? My life is just going to fall apart if we don't sell this house. And that's what I remember, like when I was talking to her and I was like, the only thing that gets me to stop obsessing is thinking about my kids. It was like, she reminded me like, yeah, your relationship with your kids is not at risk in this situation. So know that if anything doesn't happen the way that you want it to, all the things that are most important to you in your life are still there intact. And that was just a nice thing to remember. And so sobriety, when it comes to the if trap, is like it goes in all different angles. It can be approached from different angles. Like, so not falling for this trap of I'm going to stay sober as long as, or I will stay sober if, you know, if this happens, I'm gonna drink. And like setting myself up for excuses or loopholes. Sobriety cannot be conditional. That was what I heard this morning. So things like if only, what if, and if I wasn't have nothing to do with my sobriety. I am what I am, and it is what it is, and I will be what I will be, but I'm not going to drink over it no matter what. And if I use the word if, I'm setting myself up for failure. My circumstances don't keep me sober, and they also don't make me drink. I drank because I'm an alcoholic. I honestly thought this, and I don't think you listen, but, and I usually don't talk about you, but I'm just going to say it anyway, in hopes that you don't listen. I thought that I drank because I was not happy in my marriage, my first marriage. I thought that's why I drank. That's not why I drank. I drank because I'm an alcoholic. And I thought that my inability to stop drinking once I started was because I didn't have any willpower, was because I was weak. And it didn't help to be told that I was weak and that I didn't have any willpower. But that wasn't why I drank and I overdrank. It was because I'm an alcoholic. So that lie is an excuse for me to keep drinking. Because if I base my drinking on the circumstances, then that means I can keep drinking as long as my circumstances are the same, right? If my circumstances get better, then I have to stop drinking. So coincidentally, my circumstances never get better. And if one situation gets better, another terrible situation will arise. And there will never be a circumstance where I'm not drinking if I am trying to blame my drinking on my circumstances. So drinking, when I was in situations that felt like they were the reason I was drinking, I drank to numb that emotional pain. But really, what it was doing was making that pain swell up inside of me. Um, Alcohol was not a self-indulgent activity. I feel like there were a lot of times that it was until it wasn't anymore. It actually became a desperate way to cope. And that idea of whatever circumstances were happening and I couldn't escape from them outwardly, I couldn't get away from my marriage, so I thought. I felt like I was trapped and I couldn't physically get away from the things that were destroying me. So if I can't run outwardly, I crawled inwardly and I curled up in fetal position inside my dark place inside of me and just covered myself with a blanket of alcohol and I shielded myself from the world. And what I was doing was imprisoning myself inside myself. The only true escape that I found was AA. The escape was never going to be found inside of me. There is no way to get out of inside of me, except for my mouth. That's the way to get out. And that's the way that I started to be able to put that pinhole in the balloon and let that darkness start seeping out of me. The answers, the solutions for my pain are in the big book. They're in the steps and they are very much in the fellowship. They are the solutions to my pain are in the experiences of other people, and I get to hear about them if I show up to meetings. If I don't show up to meetings, I have less tools that I can use in my life. So I got to the point in stroke recovery that I felt like I couldn't risk not ingesting as much as possible because I was in so much pain, so much emotional pain. Sometimes I don't know whether to call it emotional pain or mental anguish. Maybe I'll look up what the difference is between those, but because I feel like they're not the same, but they feed each other. And yeah, but you know what I mean? Like, I felt like I was struggling so much that I couldn't risk a moment where experiences of other people were being shared and I wasn't being exposed to them. Like I wasn't listening because I wasn't showing up to the meetings. So that's why I started going to a meeting every day. And then I was like, this isn't enough. I'm still in pain. So I started going to 2 meetings a day. And that's when I felt like I was getting to a place where, okay, I'm starting to be able to manage my pain. And this is in stroke recovery. Before I had my stroke, I did not feel the need to go to 2 meetings a day. Um, and I don't know if there were few and far between. There was a day when I would go to 2 meetings, but that rarely happened. And that was only if I like didn't have anything going on and maybe somebody was speaking at one of the meetings or something like that. But I didn't really do that until stroke recovery. And I felt like I was desperate. I reached the point of desperation again. And I needed to find the solution. And I didn't think that I was getting um, enough stories from other people that would where I was finding a solution there. So, and then the psychiatrist, of course, that's been incredibly helpful to me to have that as well. I met with her today. Yeah, I mentioned that. So, the other thing we talked about this morning in my meeting is step 2. And what stood out to me is this idea, and I feel like I'm going to go all over the place a little bit, but that you're used to that. Um, what I heard was step 2 was the beginning of the end of my old life. And when I heard that this morning, I thought that might be scary to somebody who just starts sobriety to hear that step 2 is the beginning of the end of my old life. Because there are some of us who are in marriages that become very confusing and complex when one of us enters into sobriety. And when I hear that step 2 is the beginning of the end of my old life is scary. It makes me think that my marriage is over, my relationships are over. I'm going to change so much that the people in my life can't fit me in their lives or I can't fit them in mine. And that's not the case. The change doesn't have to draw people apart, but I do believe that everybody has to change. And I think that that's difficult when one of us has the disease and the other one doesn't. One of us is seeking help and the other one is saying you need to seek help. Um, one of us gets into a program and learns a new way of life. The other one is watching the person change. And I think that it's just really difficult. And I think a lot of times that one that is not the alcoholic is challenged to know, well, what do I do now? In so many ways, like, why couldn't I fix you? Um, where do I learn how to live? And that kind of thing. And well, she comes home now and tells me all about how to live and her higher power. Where was this higher power? Who's this higher power all of a sudden that's in her life? I think that there is a new way of life, but it doesn't mean that everything in your old life is done. I feel like it's my old behaviors. It's the end of my old behaviors, the beginning of the end of my old behaviors, because that's what I'm doing. I'm seeking a power greater than myself so that I stop retreating inward and start reaching outward. So I start seeking solutions outside of me instead of shrinking into my darkness. I heard this morning, I talked a lot about fear today. I spoke with a sponsee after my psychiatry this afternoon, and we were talking a lot about fear. And they say that being a sponsor, you learn as much from your sponsee as the sponsee learns from the sponsor. And that is absolutely true. It is even more pronounced right now in my new sponsor sponsee relationship because I just I know you listen and I love you and thank you so much for listening. I told you today I'm humbled that you listen to my podcast, but there's a lot of wisdom there. And I'm excited to hear, just like I was talking about earlier, where I want to be exposed to as many experiences as possible so that I can learn from them. Well, this new relationship with my sponsee is a whole new set of experiences that I get to learn from, and they're greatly articulated. And even if I'm not greatly articulating it back, it's greatly articulated to me. So I've been excited and I got a lot from that. But today in my meeting, we were talking about fear from the what ifs and stuff. And somebody said, fear is what if and faith is even if. And I shared that with my psychiatrist today as well, because faith tells me that I can do it anyway. And I have faith now because of my sobriety program that whatever it is, and I told my psychiatrist this today, I was like, I truly do believe that there is nothing that can be put in front of me that I can't handle. Really. That doesn't mean that no matter what's put in front of me, I'm going to stand strong and I'm not going to like shrivel up on the ground and start crying. I am. I am. And most of the time I will. But it just means that I'm not going to die. I'm not going to die from my emotions and my mental instability at times isn't going to kill me. That's what I mean. I know now that I have a very strong foundation for being able to navigate the world. And more importantly, navigate my thoughts as a result of the world. Somebody said this morning, the battlefield is in my mind, something to that effect. It's never, whatever I paraphrase is never exactly what was said. Something to the effect of the battlefield is in my mind. And I was like, yes, yes, it's like every day. Um, there is a tiny little army digging trenches inside my brain, and it is putting up defenses against the other side of my brain, which is just attacking all the time. Um, Once I put down the drink, that battle um, subsided quite a bit. And I think it even like all the little soldiers went on vacation or something because everything was really great for a while. It's like I was immune to life for a little while. And I think that's because I was so self-centered in the program and trying to practice the steps and doing it as I was instructed that I didn't have time for real life. I just had time to focus on getting better at living. So over time, when I'm able to relax into sobriety, the battle picks up again. And it's there like all the time. All the time I have the battle in my head. Um, but I have the tools of the program that help me with, how I arm myself, how I protect myself from myself, from myself. So I've got my higher power, which includes my concept of God. Which includes my fellowship. It includes my sponsor and my program, the steps. That's my higher power, and gosh, it just helps me so much. Um, I have to put my sobriety first. It has to be the most important thing in my life. Because if I don't focus on sobriety every day, even in stroke recovery, I have to put sobriety first. Because if I don't, there's no way I'm going to recover whatever recovery looks like. I don't even like to say recover. Whatever recovery looks like for stroke, when you can't fully recover, but it's an ongoing dynamic recovery. I have to stay sober for it. I will not pick up a drink no matter what. I hear that every morning in my second meeting. I also hear, yeah, I think that's what it was. I also hear that not drinking is the most important thing in my life. Yeah. Sorry, I'm trying to remember everything. So everything else, the relationships, my health, um, my puppies, buying a house, all that stuff is only going to get better as long as my sobriety is protected. Um, yeah, I don't know. I'm trying to live with faith right now. I'm trying to live with a bunch of patience right now. And when I get impatient, I it gets loud. My brain gets loud. Maybe that battlefield starts being active again. It's been very difficult to not have control over what's coming. And if you have been a long time listener and you've been listening for since the first year, you know that I had an extreme difficulty with not knowing what my future looked like after I had my stroke. And I think that if I were to draw a straight line, I would draw it if my mind was a map on the wall and I could try to draw relationships between my thoughts, there would be a straight line between you have no control over what your future looks like after you have a stroke and you had to leave your job. So you have no control over that. Two, today you're waiting on somebody to buy your house and you have no control over it and you don't know what your future looks like because of this big thing that you're waiting for. I didn't know what my future looked like because I was waiting for, am I going to be approved by disability insurance? Like, that's a big thing. Am I going to have money to live or am I not? Um, and when you've got people that are involved in where your future is going, it's really difficult to sit back and let them do their job. One being a doctors in stroke recovery, and right now is realtors. You just have to sit back and trust. And that's so hard to do no matter how much you like the people. But that's where faith comes in. That's where I need to just take my hands off the wheel. Um, I have to really put into action, what is it that I believe in? What is it that I believe is holding me up? And it's not about religion. It's connection and surrender. And this is something interesting. I've been taking my walks as usual with Autumn, and I like to pick up trash now. It's just a thing. I don't really like to touch other people's trash, so it depends on what it is. But if it's like a bottle or a can or something that I don't feel like somebody's nastiness is on, I'll pick it up. And um lately, every piece of trash I see has the word energy on it. I'm not kidding you. It has the word energy on it, including there was yesterday, Autumn and I were walking by a playground and there was a Pokemon card on the ground. And I turned it over and said energy. It was the energy card. And I was like, what is happening? Because today I picked up a can and it was an energy drink. And I don't know, something happened the other day and it also said energy, and I don't remember what it was. So it would be better if I had three examples, but I only have two at the moment that's in my mind. But it has happened at least three times. And I'm like, what? If you want to believe in the sign thing, Rachel, and some of you have been listening since I listened to the book Signs, secret language of the universe. I'm like, if you want to do the signs thing, then someone's telling you to sit back and trust the energy. It's about the energy around, what energy are you putting out to the world and what energy are you soaking in? That's what I'm getting from that. Um, and and I feel like it's just reminding me, like, don't crawl inside yourself. Surrender to the universe. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And no matter how nervous I get or doubtful I get, whatever's going to happen is going to happen. And what's interesting is today I was talking to my psychiatrist about getting excited I'm super freaking excited about moving but I don't like to, I temper that excitement because I don't want to be disappointed. But sometimes I temper the disappointment so much that I'm pre-disappointed so that I spend all that time waiting for the thing to happen and I'm just like, okay, I'm ready to be disappointed. I'm ready to be disappointed. So I'm feeling the disappointment before the disappointment even comes. And I said, she said, why don't you get excited? Let yourself be excited. And I said, well, getting excited isn't going to do anything. It's not going to make it happen or not make it happen. And she said, "Ah, I gotta open my notes. Live action. I'm opening my psychiatrist notes as we speak. Um, I said, I really want this to happen. I want to move into this new house. And I said, but I don't want to want it because I don't want to be disappointed. And and that's what I was saying. I said, wanting doesn't make it happen. So it doesn't matter whether I want it or not. I don't know if that makes sense. But she said, wanting does make things happen. Um, and that was all she had to say. And I said, wanting helps me take action. And she said, that's right. And she said, wanting helps us to be creative. Wanting is positive. Wanting is not selfish. And I have for a very long time felt like if I want something, I'm being selfish. And I don't know where that came from, but I feel that way. And I think that's one of the reasons why when I say my prayers at night before I go to bed, or when I say my prayers ever, when I'm trying to like express gratitude or something, or I do a small little prayer, or whatever, because I'm practicing, um, I don't ever ask for anything because I have this like self-talk that tells me it's selfish to want something. So don't ask for anything. So I feel like in this situation with this house, it's like I want it really bad and there's nothing I can do to make it happen. So I'm just gonna not get excited. I'm gonna not really convey how much I want it until it's true. Um, and so she was trying to encourage me um, to express how much I wanted it, to get excited about it. And so running across these different pieces of trash that all have the word energy, I'm like, it's about what energy am I exuding right now? And it's not terribly positive. It's not because I feel terrible and I'm also trying to temper excitement. And I don't know why I'm trying to do that because I don't want to get disappointed. So, she went on to talk about how anxiety is something that also portrays itself as being a negative thing. But anxiety is actually something that keeps us safe. So that energy that anxiety is generating is something that keeps us safe, just like the energy that wanting is creating is what helps us take action and be positive um and be creative and stuff like that. So I really liked that. It's something that I'm going to probably quote unquote meditate over. And by that, I mean, sometimes I just sit down and I think, because I have to rest my head. So there's a lot of thinking that goes on between these ears. I'm sure you've figured that out by now. So that's something that I'm going to spend some time thinking about. And I think that's a wrap, I believe, for today. So I don't know that I brought it full circle for you, but it was a lot of good stuff. I had a positive day and not beating myself up, just being gentle with myself and and yeah, and I had something else to say, but my mind went blank. So that's it. Thanks for coming, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.